Hello, Brother Wilson. This is Josh. As you know, I lost my binder. My binder unfortunately had my envelope with the 17 concepts in it that were given to me by, oh dear, by James. And it also had my list of the 100 concepts, so I'm going to have to do this from memory. I'll give you at least 15. I'll try to remember 17 concepts that I have learned, and I'll give you those. So, how do the following fit into my metaphor? 1. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This would be a good tool to use as long as I understand what it is and how a teenager needs Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A teenager or anybody, is unlikely to do good work if they're not getting enough food or if they don't have a place to live. So this would be an electron, a tool for trying to help people whose needs are not being met. If I understand them, I will know how to meet their needs. Another one would be Kohlberg, moral development, moral agency. There are 6 stages. We all know them. They're the egocentric stages, the conventional and the post-conventional stages. Understanding these, this would be a doctrine. Everyone develops differently, well, congruently but differently morally. And understanding what most teenagers and every individual teenager, where they're at in their moral development, will help me to understand how to motivate them. Motivation, extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. That's number 3 and 4, I guess. Extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation are both tools. Extrinsic, I can control how they are extrinsically motivated by motivating them extrinsically. And intrinsic motivation, I can help them want to know, want to understand, by giving them a fair amount of disequilibrium, which is number 5. Disequilibrium is also a tool, a useful tool, to use on teenagers, especially teenagers have good disequilibrium, and they use it positively. When an individual is in disequilibrium, then if it's the right kind, then they will have situational interest. Number 6, situational interest. Disequilibrium is when they don't know it all, when they find out that there's something that they don't know and they want to know it. And again, it gives them situational interest, number 6, which is that I suppose it's a tool or a principle. It could be a principle, because I can't control someone's situational interest, but an individual with good situational interest will eventually, will want to know what something is and how it works. Now, proximity, number 7, proximity in time, given the disequilibrium, I found out with my caterpillar theory that an individual cedar was very interested. She had a lot of situational interest. But it lasted a few weeks, and then she actually had no interest in it whatsoever. When I offered to tell her about it, she said, "No way, I don't want to hear it." So proximity is important as well. Proximity can also mean how close you are to a student. That's a tool. If I'm too close to someone, it may make them feel uncomfortable. But if I'm too far away from someone, it may make me seem uninterested to that person. So that would be Proximity is number 7. A few things that happen in the brain. Let's go with cognitive domain. The cognitive domain, it's a doctrine. Everybody has a cognitive domain. And it's also a doctrine that everybody's at different stages in their cognitive development in any subject. Using the cognitive domain as a tool, this is the domain in which people need to understand concepts correctly. The affective domain, number 8, is the part of the brain that allows you to not just understand concepts, but decide how you feel about them. It's kind of the moral center of the brain. That's also a doctrine, or maybe a principle, that the moral center of the brain helps you decide how you feel about something. Is science fun? Your affective domain will help you receive that answer. Then there's a psychomotor domain, number 9. The psychomotor domain helps a lot with the cognitive and affective domain, kind of links them together using physical actions. Your psychomotor domain controls how you physically do things. So using the psychomotor domain in everything will be useful. So a psychomotor domain, I would almost say, is a tool. So that's 9. Number 10, I'm going to go with, did I do cueing? No, I didn't. Cueing. Cueing is an individual approaches someone or tells them something, usually in an effort to get them to change their behavior using a less obtrusive method. Cueing is a tool, and one would use that so that the individual does not feel picked on by the teacher, because that would not make them happy. 11, helicopter parents. Helicopter parents are parents who will not leave their children alone. They just kind of hover over them like a little helicopter, just waiting until they have to make a decision. Then they make a decision for them. Yeah, that doesn't really fit into my metaphor, though. Not very much, because I can't really change a parent's behavior. Well, I can talk to them about it. I suppose I could. But it's about the student growing, not the parent. So that's 10. I need 7 more. So number 11 would be research. Let's do research. Okay. There is correlational, experimental, and descriptive research. Descriptive research is raw data. Out of 100 people, 21 are wearing hats. Then the correlational research would be, out of 100 people, 21 are wearing hats. 18 of the 21 people wearing hats are boys. And then the experimental research would be, is there something that I can do? Yeah, so correlational research is trying to draw correlations. And then the experimental research is there something that I can do to cause people want to wear hats? So then if I give everybody a bad haircut, or if I take, out of those 100 people, 50 people, 25 boys and 25 girls, and give them all a bad haircut, will all of them or most of them wear hats? The bad haircut would be the pill to make somebody wear a hat. So that makes 13. 14, that would be, so we did that. No, I did disequilibrium. How about prototype? A prototype is when I'm trying to explain a subject, I get something to fit into everybody's schema. Schema would be number 15. A schema is what somebody knows and sees and has seen before, smelled before, understands. So a prototype must fit into a schema and must have all of the defining characteristics of what I want to explain. Defining characteristics is something that this thing always has. Every single one. Correlational characteristics are things that they typically have. You can usually identify it quickly if they have all as this because of all the correlational characteristics. That's 17. 18, positive instance and negative instance. A positive instance is something that fits all the defining characteristics, and so therefore is what I'm trying to explain. A negative instance is something that does not have all